Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Average Guy adventure. It's Labor Day weekend, and I think everybody and their uncle is out camping this weekend. We have our own adventure planned. I've looked up the location of 5 historic lookouts in the forest around where we live here in northwestern Oregon, and we're going to go see if we can bag those peaks. It's possible we'll find remnants of these old lookouts. We want to see what's there and what the view was like. I know a little bit of the history of each of these lookouts, and I hope we can get there. The maps show that there's access to these peaks, but as we've learned in the past, maps are not always up to date. So I hope we can get there. We'll find out. Very good activity on a busy Labor Day weekend when all the campgrounds are full. Our first one is the one closest to us. It's on top of Round Top. Now, Round Top is a peak that all the locals recognize and we're very familiar with. So we're going to head up there, and that's where we're going to cut our teeth on this adventure. We're going to try that lookout first. Driving, we're trying to get to Round Top, and we came to a gate. Private property, well, not state forest property. It's open, but not to vehicles. So we're gonna hike the last half mile or so to go check out the Round Top. Never been up there. Land beyond here is Stimson Lumber Company land. The sign says that it's open only from 4 p.m. to sunset during the weekdays, but on the weekend, it's open from sunrise to sunset. So we're gonna go check it out. It's Saturday. We can go now. This is looking promising. So right down there is Gales Creek. And that's where the very first Tillamook burn started, a logging company right out of Gales Creek. This is the east. The fire burned west. Over through all of those hills. And of course, there is no lookout here anymore. It was torn down, and now there's a microwave tower. Okay, we're at the peak of Round Top, our first stop for our adventure. It says here that there was a lookout built, the very first one, in 1934. So that was the year after the Great Tillamook Fire started. It was built by under the supervision of Ed Conklin, and they built a 100-foot tall tower. In 1941, Ranger Tom Seth was up here as a fire lookout and was struck by lightning in his tower and was knocked out. He regained consciousness and finished his shift right on duty. From the information I could find, the first tower was a 100-foot high crow's nest on a pole with a live-in cabin built down at the base. The records read, August 1934, a small detachment located on the slopes of Round Top Mountain under the supervision of Ed Conklin, Forester, were settled and began work on a pack trail to the lookout to be constructed on the top of the 3,003-foot high peak. The lookout will tower 100 feet above the mountaintop. June 1935, a small side camp at Round Top officially celebrated completion of the major portion of its work with the burning of 5 acres of slashing near the Round Top lookout. Timber was felled near the lookout to provide greater visibility. In 1946, after 10 years with the Crow's Nest lookout, The Oregon Department of Forestry spent a sum of $2,261.15 for a 14-foot by 14-foot live-in cabin on top of a 35-foot tower. The lookout was staffed until 1965.
Where's that at?
I think that's Forest Grove.
Nice.
Oh.
It's a little too hazy. I can't tell where Mount Hood is, but if that's Forest Grove, I would think maybe that direction.
Yeah, but I can see it's too hazy, but there is either Mount Adams or Mount St. Helens. I can't quite see the top because of the haze, but
oh yeah.
So that means Mount Hood is behind that cloud right over there. But you can see all the way the Willamette Valley from up here. I can see why they picked this spot for a lookout. That mountain over there is the North Saddle Mountain. We've climbed that before. This spot has been excavated and really improved for the sake of this microwave tower, for the county or for the phone company, I suspect. So we haven't found much evidence of the original lookout here. There are some concrete remnants. These concrete remnants might be, but that's a stretch. We don't know where it came from. So we're gonna go on and find the next one. There's no evidence of the original lookout tower that stood here. After hiking back to the truck, we headed off to our next lookout, the Blue Lake Mountain Lookout. It was only about 5.5 miles as the crow flies, but we had quite a journey to get there using the old 4x4 trails and logging roads. Darn. Guess we can't go that way. Stick Annie taking a break. We had to redirect. We're on a long route there. No way, we were hiking back up to the car from just this little exploration, and I found this old railroad rail. There used to be an old rail line through here, long gone. That's definitely a rail for a railroad. I bet it was where they hauled logs through here in the 20s and 30s. Got turned around again. I just want to say that's the peak I think we're trying to get up to right there. And the two roads we've tried have been blocked, so there's a couple more on the map. We're going to give it a shot. We're not giving up so easy. The camera's been off for a long time, but we have been driving for hours, working our way up and down these steep mountain valleys, and we are slowly getting there, but it's getting late. We decided that we were going to call it for the night. We were going to set up camp, and we will attack it first thing in the morning to get to that Blue Lake Mountain Lookout tomorrow. I'm all set up to record the sunset. While the camera's doing its thing, I'm gonna go down and cook dinner for everybody. I've got a good dinner planned. So earlier, Jeanette harvested some peppers and onion from our garden. We're going to saute those up with some butter and fry up some brats in them, and we're going to have a bratwurst dinner. Okay, I think we're ready to eat. You okay, buddy? We just had some close calls. We've had two lightning strikes that I think were within
A mile.
quarter mile or less. I can't tell because we're in this dark, but it was boom and such a crack. I thought to shatter the glass. The kids were in their own tents. We called them into our truck. We all be together, ride out the storm. I think poor Sam's feeling a little scared. It's exciting, but boy, I don't think I've ever been so close to lightning strikes before. What did you guys think about yesterday? I was hoping that the thunderstorms would move in. I wanted to snuggle in, be a bug in a rug, listen to the boomers around us, little raindrops on the tarps, sleep like a baby. Is that what happened?
No.
No, little did we know.
Little did we know.
Yeah, I'd do it again. I'll be honest.
You'd do it again?
You
I do,
psychopath.
Well, what happened? What made it more exciting than what we planned on? We were listening
Someone
to
exploded
so
a
the booms
bomb.
around us, and everything was a safe distance away. And the kids were in their own tent, which
Tents
yeah,
With
they each
us.
had their own tent, so they were alone. They were nearby, but alone.
with dogs.
But then we heard first one just crack, boom, and it sounded like the lightning was just 100 yards from us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was instant. The truck was shaking, and I don't know if the truck was shaking because of the force of the lightning or because Jeanette and I both jumped at the same time. But it was way too close for comfort. I mean, it was lightning right here, right where we were. And then I'm like, oh crap, well that was just one. Went back to the lightning around us. But then about 20 minutes later, another crack. I mean, just flash of blinding light and instant thunder. Like it happened, you could hear the air just tear. And then, bam! You could hear the lightning as soon as you saw it. That's how close it was. And I didn't actually see where it hit, and we looked around for a tree, but just like, let's get the kids, everybody in. So we all piled into the safety of the truck. And fortunately, that was the last. We didn't have any more of the real close lightnings, but it got a little too crowded with 4 people and 2 dogs in the back of the truck. So I did sneak off and spend the night in Sam's tent. It's day 2 of our adventure to try to go to the site of the old lookouts. We wasted a whole day or whole afternoon yesterday trying to get to the next lookout. We could see where we needed to go, but the valleys around here are so steep and so deep, and the bridges are all washed out and so remote that we wasted a whole day just to get a few miles. We have to backtrack today, and we're going to try to pick up the trail from the other side of the valley. It's funny, as you can see, you can almost throw a rock and hit it, but you have to drive 15-20 miles of dirt road just to get over there. So that's what we're doing right now, putting on the miles on the dirt roads. We stopped to eat some lunch. We are having a hard time getting to the other side of the valley, but I think we finally found our way through. But it's almost 2 o'clock and we're starved. It's also come to my realization that I'm not going to get to all the lookouts that I had mapped out. I think we've only got enough time for one more lookout, which is disappointing, but I guess the driving around adventure was part of the trip. So we're going to eat some lunch and we'll check in at our push to the next lookout. Thought we were gonna make it. Well, as you can see, we're home. We couldn't find a way through them. What happened on this trip is that we have Gales Creek valleys that run from the mountains to the Willamette River, and then you have the Salmonberry and Nehalem and Kilchis rivers running to the coast. We couldn't cross any of those rivers. There was either a bridge out, or the Department of Forestry had the roads closed due to fire season, or the landowners had closed the roads due to fire season. Now, we've had rain, so we're not in a high fire danger right now, but the landowners hadn't opened the road yet. We looked at the map. We tried our last try to get across the Gales Creek, and we ran into that gate. The map said it was open, but clearly it wasn't. That was it. It was already late in the afternoon, and we were only like 7 miles from home, so we just decided to come home. There were 5 lookouts I wanted to visit. I had placed on the map. We made it to the first one without any trouble, and then we couldn't cross those valleys, and all the other 4 were on the other side of the valley. It was still a good adventure. I'm glad we went, as always. The kids are good to travel with. Jeanette's always in good spirits. They take after me. They really like to just go out and see what we can see. If it was a for sure thing, if we were guaranteed to make it, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun. You may have thought that I didn't do any photography on this trip, but surprise, I actually did. The morning after the thunderstorm, I walked up to a clear area where I could launch and fly my drone to try to get the lay of the land, and I brought my camera with me. And while I was flying the drone, the fog moved in over the top of us, and it was kind of scary because I couldn't see my drone to land it, so I had to go directly off the software to get it back. That worked out okay, no problem, but I had my camera with me, and so I took these pictures on my way back. I won't spend a lot of time talking about the pictures. They're just done in the fog. What I tried to do is I tried to get the ominous feeling of the fog, and These pictures aren't great. They're nice backdrop pictures, but they don't have clear subjects. The one with the road at least has a subject. The others are just a background picture. Alright, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Maybe on a future one we will get to those other lookouts.